what does beauty queen mean, होइन? र especially when one is tagged as a beauty queen, त्यसपछिको आउने misinterpretationsहरू चाहिँ?
Well, I think beauty queens bana sathe, as you said, rightly said, beauty bhanne kura ta आउँछ नै, तर with brains bhanne kura चाहिँ it's like an additional thing के. So I think one thing that is really understated with beauty queens is that intellect, because see, beauty pageant is very different from modeling. You need to be able to speak, you need to be able to converse, and put forth important topics हरू चाहिँ तपाईले ल्याउनु पर्छ समाजमा, तपाईले बोल्नु पर्छ त्यसको बारेमा. There's also an important part of advocacy that's associated with beauty pageants. So I think that is really understated जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई.
I think over the years in my sort of journey as a Miss Nepal, in the past 15 years, that definition of a beauty queen has changed multiple times. When I was participating, I definitely think it was a platform that was very much respected and looked at as, this talented, confident, beautiful girl. And maybe not so much just the physical aspect of it. And over time, I think it became very sort of skewed to physical beauty, that a beauty queen has to look a certain way, has to, be of a certain height, has to have a certain figure, so to say, right?
It doesn't resonate with me. But if we look a little deeper, I think beauty queen ko mapan, there's a soul inside each of it, no matter jasto different pictures or they have their own little kindness, own little world that they are nurturing. And to me, that is, like I said, the beauty, the self-sangako relationship. And beauty queen is someone that embodies that. And with that being said, that means everyone is in a lot of ways. You don't need to have a crown, you don't need to dress a certain way. It's again how you feel with yourself, and if you feel like a queen, you are a queen, right?
एकदमै धेरै टाइम, एकदमै, बिकज ब्युटी क्विन भनिसकेपछि फर्स्टमा चाहिँ हामी कहिलेकाहीँ अब विदाउट मेकअप त योर स्किन डेफिनेटली लुक्स डल नि होइन, जति नै स्किन क्लियर भए पनि जे भए पनि, अनि समटाइम्स यु लुक टायर्ड, यु डु टेन टु हेभ सम डार्क सर्कल्स होइन. सो ब्युटीको टर्ममा चाहिँ डेफिनेटली वी डु गेट जज्ड. कहिलेकाहीँ अलिकति फेसनेबल लुगा लगायो भने पनि वी डु गेट जज्ड, अनि अलिकति नट सो फेसनेबल लुगा लगायो भने पनि वी डु गेट जज्ड होइन.
हेर्नुहोस्, हामी यो समाजमा हुर्क्या हो जुन समाजले चाहिँ एउटा तपाईलाई मेजरिङ टेपमा राखेको हुन्छ के. समाजको यो मिश्र नै त्यस्तै छ, जहाँ चाहिँ सुन्दर त्यो व्यक्ति हो जो गोरो छ, सुन्दर त्यो व्यक्ति हो जो पातुलो छ, सुन्दर त्यो व्यक्ति हो जसको आवाजमा मिठास छ भनेर महिलालाई पहिलादेखि नै यो यी न्यारेटिभहरूमा चाहिँ जहिले समावेश गरेर राखिरहेको छ. त्यसमा म पनि हुर्केकै व्यक्ति हो.
Firstly, I'll take your question up on it's a very curious question. Many people haven't asked us why we're called beauty queens, and I think that's a very loosely termed notion to a pageant winner. So we're not actual beauty queens. We don't call ourselves that. But through years, maybe for pageant organizers to work through their entire surrounding of making people understand what beauty pageants can be about, they've loosely and maybe for the lack of better words, put it as beauty queens, but we're literally just pageant winners. But if you have to talk about misrepresentation of what we stand for, what we are as women, people, I believe, most likely think that we're unrelatable.
So, त्यो एउटा चाहिँ perception हो, I think, for me personally. But हामीले मिडियाबाट हेर्यो भने चाहिँ there is a different set of expectations, right? You want to hair एकदमै टक्क non-frizzy, which I don't have, right? Or your nails done, which also I don't have. Or you want to dress a certain way, which I might not be, which I might be against as well. So त्यो आफ्नो एउटा freedoms जुन stand गर्ने ground छ, त्यसमा कति flexibility छ त, and how much are people willing to accept that different kind of notion of beauty that they want to portray. So त्यो वेमा चाहिँ I feel like त्यतिको like त्यो update भएको छैन. त्यो कारणले पनि even if I'm a youth, if I ask fellow youths, त्यो एउटा negative like beauty queen त हो, like beauty just beauty, no brains खालको टाइपको narrative पनि छ जस्तो लाग्छ. But who doesn't have like brain कसको छैन हैन, beauty कसको हुँदैन.
And I think अर्को कुरा भनेको credentials पनि कतै न कतै, because when we talk about beauty queens, or when we even remember them or recall few of the beauty queens that we know, I think except for very few, अरूले के गरिरहेछ त आफ्नो लाइफमा in terms of personal professional achievements, I think हामीले त्यो निहालेर हेर्दैनौँ जस्तो लाग्छ कि मलाई कति पार्टहरुमा. So even if I have to give example of my own भनौँ न Miss Nepal Earth मैले जितेको टाइटल, so हाम्रो Miss Nepal Earth कै ग्रुपको बारेमा हेर्दाखेरि पनि I am a doctor by profession. We have a pilot, we have entrepreneur, हैन? We have a dentist who is just won 2024 ma. So we all come from different walks of life and we have different credentials apart from just the pageant tag that is there.
एउटा हामीले चाहिँ सबैजनाले के चाहिँ बुझ्न एकदम आवश्यक हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि एउटा प्रोग्रेसिभ माइन्ड हुँदा पनि कतै न कतै त्योसँग चाहिँ एउटा प्याट्रियार्कल माइन्डसेट पनि चाहिँ कोएक्जिस्टै गरिरहेको हुन्छ. म एकदम प्रोग्रेसिभ छु भनिराख्दाखेरि मेरो एक्सन्सहरुमा कतै न कतै चाहिँ प्याट्रियार्कल माइन्डसेट आइरहेको हुन्छ. किन भनेर भन्दाखेरि म यही समाजको भाग हो, म यही समाजमा हुर्क्या हो र समाजले हामीलाई यस्तो बनाइदिन्छ कि जहाँ कतै न कतै तपाईसँग जीवनमा हरेक चीज भइराख्दाखेरि जे चीज मसँग छैन या जे चीजबाट मलाई चाहिँ मान्छेहरूले मेरो बारेमा कुरा गर्दैन, कतै न कतै त्यसको बारेमा मेरो बारेमा कुरा गर्छ. जस्तै मैले बाल्यकालदेखि नै मिस नेपालसम्म जाँदाखेरिको जर्नीमा चाहिँ तिमी कति राम्री है, तिमी कति सुन्दर है भन्ने कहिले स्टेटमेन्ट मैले पाइनँ. मैले जहिले पनि पाउने तिमी कस्तो स्ट्रङ ओपिनियटेड महिला छौ, कस्तो मजाले निर्धक्क भएर आफ्नो कामहरू गर्छौ, हाती हाती जस्तो संस्था छ, यस्तो राम्ररी काम गरिरहेको छौ, कस्तो राम्रो गजब महिला भनेर मैले निकै कम सुन्थेँ. र कतै न कतै त्यो यङ एउटा एनर्जीमा कस्तो पनि हुन्छ होइन, तपाईँ आफू लागि सेल्फ अवेयर हुँदा पर्पस हुँदा के गरिराख्दाखेरि कतै न कतै मलाई पनि सुन्दर भन्दै हुन्थ्यो नि भन्ने एउटा मनमा चाहिँ आइरहने चाहिँ एउटा विचार हुँदो रहेछ के.
And all of that. And so with that came a lot of criticism, because that is a very opinionated space and anyone can feel anything about it. And now I think even that has gone away a little bit, and now I think the assumption is that beauty queens are social activists of some sorts. And if you're a beauty queen, now you have to be able to, have an opinion on everything. You have to be able to speak out on everything and all of that. There were times when it was also looked at as this, pretty dumb girl. There were times when it was looked at as, more negatively and then positively.
So त्यो कुरा चाहिँ अलिकति एकदमै it's a very split binary kind of way of thinking when you are a whole person no matter what title you carry. So for me त्यो beauty queen भन्ने जुन word छ त्यसको update चाहिँ within a person जति भए पनि outside पनि equally भएको छ त भन्ने question हो. How willing are people to see that drastic change पनि, And there are so many people who want to join the beauty pageant to present a different kind of beauty standards, and how willing are people to accept that. And if you look at those conversations, whenever someone breaks a certain stereotype, you see that it's not the case. There is a certain amount of backlash and an unwillingness to accept the stereotype. So it's very much like you're not ready to break it, but you're yet the complaints pani cha. So for me, I think you cannot please everyone, and त्यो कारणले चाहिँ you don't have to fit into that box. Like doing justice to the title is still again being your true self and trying to shape it for the next आउने मान्छेहरूलाई पनि त्यसरी shape गर्दै जानुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ.
Sometimes our relatability is faded in a notion that we're different. We have everything in control. We know what we say, we know how we speak, we know everything about the world, but that's not true. And especially after I won Miss Nepal, I was merely, 22, 23, just juggling through life, having high hopes and dreams and ambitions about every capabilities that I can push through in life, especially as a young woman. And I remember getting boggled down in so many of the comments saying, you might not have tackled this situation, you should have answered this question with this notion, your perspective should come from the north direction and not the south. And when I look at all those things, I believe that we're also learning. It's also a journey, and it's a big, huge scope for learning. If I had just school, I would have a teacher. If I have a Miss Nepal's platform, I have many teachers. So I'd say be kinder to us. and we're more relatable than you think we are.
मलाई पनि त्यो भएको हामी मानिस हो जीवनमा हरेक चिजको लोभ हुँदो रहेछ के अनि सुन्दर मलाई भन्दोस् भन्ने पनि एउटा लोभ ममा पनि कतै न कतै थियो अनि जब म मिस नेपालमा आउँदै थिएँ मिस नेपालको जर्नीको सुरुवात एउटा सेल्फ अवेरनेस बाटै भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि म मिस नेपालमा गएको मलाई सबैले सुन्दर भनोस् भनेर तर त्यहाँ पनि कसैले सुन्दर नभनिसकेपछि लास्टमा गएर म सुन्दर मैले गरिरहेको काम मैले गरिरहेको पर्पस र त्यहीले गर्दाखेरि पनि जुन मैले टाइटल जिते त्यसले गर्दा मलाई एउटा के कुरा रियलाइज भयो भन्दाखेरि मैले आफ्नो बारेमा फेरि हामी मान्छेहरू चाहिँ आफ्नो बारेमा जति नराम्रो सोच्न सक्छन् त्यो त अरूले पनि सोच्न सक्दैन होला के होला कि सो त्यही भएर चाहिँ मलाई के फिल भयो भनेर भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ आई थिङ्क यो न्यारेटिभहरू चाहिँ मैबाट सुरु भएछ र यो किन मैले सुरु हुन दिएँ भन्दाखेरि समाजका मिश्रणहरूसँग मैले आफूलाई चाहिँ छुटाउन सकिनँ एक ठाउँमा म आफूलाई प्रोग्रेसिभ माइन्डसेट भनिरहेको थिएँ भने अर्को ठाउँमा चाहिँ यही भ्यालिडेसन्सहरूको लागि पनि मैले भ्यालिडेसन सिक गर्नको लागि पनि धेरै चिजहरू चाहिँ सिक गर्न थालेँ ब्युटी क्विन भनेर मलाई कसैले चिनोस् भन्ने मेरो कतै न कतै गोल पनि थियो होला त्यो टाइममा तर आजको दिनमा आएर फर्केर हेर्दाखेरि हरेक न्यारेटिभलाई रिडिफाइन गर्नुपर्छ सायद मलाई ब्युटी क्विन भनेर अहिले कसैले चिन्नुहुन्छ भन्नुहुन्छ मलाई खुसी लाग्छ
That is one thing. र अर्को भनेको also as I mentioned advocacy part is there when we talk about beauty pageants. So धेरैजनाले चाहिँ त्यो जब रिनिङ इयर हुन्छ त्यो बेला चाहिँ वी हेभ सम काइन्ड अफ एडभोकेसी द्याट वी प्रेजेन्ट इन द इन्टरनेसनल प्लेटफर्म र त्यो बेला एउटा स्पटलाइट आइरहेको हुन्छ हामीले के गरिरहेछौँ समाजको लागि भनेर तर त्यो रिनिङ इयर सकिसकेपछि पनि धेरैले काम कन्टिन्यू पनि गर्नुहुन्छ तर यु नो अ लट अफ पिपल माइट वान्ट टु स्टे लो की बिकज एउटा रिनिङ इयर पछि people might realize in their life that they don't want that amount of fame or maybe you're not ready for that amount of fame हुन्छ नि you might want to stay low key र तपाईले low key way मा नै त्यो social service तपाईले continue गरिरहेको हुन सक्छ
Secondly, what I really think that people think is misconstrued in our notion is that our journey is only up till the crown. After that, we really don't do anything to maybe stand in high regards of the public, maybe put work that inspires others. But I think after that 1 year, especially, we have many opportunity that opens up to us. Some people, some Miss Nepals have gone into business industries. Some are big entrepreneurs. Some have held their house like nobody else. But regardless of what you choose, people move on in their life. And this title is merely a job for a year. You're not paid, you're not directly paid, or you don't have a specific identification of work that you do, but it is a job for a year. And once you're done with one sort of a job, you move ahead in life, right? So I think that is another thing that people maybe confuse us as our roles to be. And thirdly, I get this question a lot. What people think is that our impact ends with our reign. With me, I think my most impactful and purposeful regard through my entire Miss Nepal's journey until Miss World has to be my beauty with a purpose. My journey was a reign of 2 years. It wasn't actually a reign, but since Miss World got postponed, I had to be here for 2 years, still do my job, still push myself every day, not go to school, not maybe pursue my higher education, and just hope and pray that I will be able to represent Nepal properly at Miss World.
तर यसका न्यारेटिभहरू रिडिफाइन हुनुपर्छ जस्तै मलाई कस्तो अप्ठ्यारो हुन्छ भने कसैले ब्युटी विथ ब्रेन्स भन्दाखेरि हामीहरू कस्तो ओ वाउ मलाई ब्युटी विथ ब्रेन्स भन्यो भनेर क्या खुसी हुन्छौँ तर यसमा समस्या छ जस्तो लाग्छ जस्तै मैले कोही पुरुष साथीलाई भेटेर तपाईँ कस्तो ह्यान्डसम विथ ब्रेन्स भनेको त्यो अनकम्फर्टेबल अक्वर्ड सुनिन्छ भनेपछि यो समाजले हामीलाई यसरी नै सिकायो यसरी नै हुर्कायो त्यही भएर हामीलाई यो न्यारेटिभहरू ठिक लाग्यो तर आई थिङ्क समयको ब्युटी भने यो परिवर्तनशील छ प्रगतिशील छ त्यही हिसाबले हामी अघि बढ्नुपर्छ भन्ने कुरा यही केही वर्षमा मैले पनि सिकेँ र यो ब्युटी क्विन भन्ने जुन ट्याग मिसइन्टरप्रेट हामी भइरहेको छौँ किन भइरहेको छौँ भन्दा हाम्रो समाजले यसरी नै हुर्का
So yeah, I hope I answered briefly bhayo pani, but yeah, I would say the phrase itself is a little outdated, to be honest. In a lot of ways, beauty queen bhanna sath, I think it should be a little more inwards khalko conversation that should happen, and people should look more inwards when we're sharing alikati bhitrako kuraharu. So yeah, it was never like एउटा स्टेजमा बसेर कुनै प्रेजेन्ट गर्ने लाइक एउटा एक्ट सो मात्र नभइकन इट्स अ लाइफ एज वेल एन्ड ब्युटी क्विनकोमा पनि आई थिङ्क त्यो एउटा चाहिँ अलिकति रनेस चाहिँ ल्याउन कतिले ट्राई पनि गरिरहेको हुन्छ सो त्यो एक्सेप्टेन्स पनि इक्वली आउनुपर्छ कि विथ काइन्डनेस
नम्बर 1 नम्बर 2 कसैले होइन अब म मेरो पर्सनल प्रोफेसनल लाइफलाई नै अगाडि बढाउँछु भनेर एजुकेसन कन्टिन्यू गरिरहेको हुनसक्छ जबतिर अझै बढी इन्भल्भ हुनसक्छ सो सोसल सर्भिस त्यो एउटा चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि अब होइन गर्नै पर्छ सामाजिक दायित्व चाहिँ अब तपाईँको छँदैछ बिकज यु वान द्याट प्याजेन्ट भनेर चाहिँ एउटा एक्स्ट्रा भनौँ न एउटा प्रेसराइज गरेको जस्तो चाहिँ मैले फिल गरेको छु विच इज अ लिटल राइट होइन फ्रम द अडियन्स साइड पनि बिकज यु हेभ अ सर्टन एक्सपेक्टेसन एज अ ब्युटी क्विन बिकज यु लुक अप टु देम एज अ रोल मोडल. But you have to also understand that, you know, them being a role model, they're also humans, they're also people at the end of the day, and they also have their own aspirations with how they want to shape their life. So I think त्यो एउटा burden चाहिँ नगरिदिए हुन्थ्यो जस्तो लाग्छ.
अनि as far as the term queen is concerned or मान्छेहरूको perceptionमा चाहिँ अलिकति गाह्रो चाहिँ हुन्छ. I don't want to sound very bitter about people's perspective about us or me in general, तर अलिकति sometimes we do feel like अलि धेरै नै we're under scrutiny जस्तो पनि लाग्छ that हाम्रो हरेक move it gets monitored, it gets criticized, हामीले बोलेको हरेक word it gets criticized, हामीले लगाएको लुगादेखि लिएर hair, skin, everything. So that kind of puts us under pressure sometimes.
Also, having that going on for 2 years, I think the beauty with a purpose that I created, the project Lighting Up Lives that I created then, would have never happened if I didn't have this platform. I, again, was a mere young girl who wanted to pursue her dreams in career, in education, her academic background, but I took a step back, or maybe 10 steps forward, and climbed onto this journey of pageantry, and the impact that I left behind with Lighting Up Lives then continues still, and I want to tell people that it will remain forever, especially with me.
But for me, the kind of opportunities that I've had, the kind of people that I've met, the kind of networking, and most importantly, the kind of community that I've been able to build because of this title, and of course with my own personality, as well, has been a very, very fulfilling one. And so when people look at me, I have stopped seeing the negative. I think they look at me with a lot of love and adoration. Yeah, so I'm actually very satisfied now. But there was a time when I didn't like this title, when I didn't want to be known as a Miss Nepal, when I kept feeling like I'm so much better, I have so much more to me than just this. But now that's fine. This is a part of me. I accept it.
अब यो यसरी हुर्किएको छ हाम्रो सोच यसरी हुर्किएको चाहिँ सही गलतको डिबेटमा चाहिँ कस्तो भन्दाखेरि चलन चल्तीका नाममा धेरै चिजहरू नेपालको इतिहासहरू फर्केर हेरौँ धेरै चिजहरू गलत छन् तर त्यसमा आवाज उठेन त्यसमा हरेक चिज रिडिफाइन हुँदै आयो रिचेन्ज हुँदै आयो र आजको दिनमा हामी कुनै टाइममा यस्तो पनि हुन्थ्यो भन्ने कुरा अहिले हुँदैन सो आई थिङ्क यो ब्युटी क्विन कन्सेप्टदेखि लिएर इम्पावरमेन्टको जुन कन्सेप्टहरू दिन्छ आई थिङ्क यो पनि विथ टाइम रिडिफाइन हुनुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई र त्यो रिडिफाइन हुने प्रोसेसमा म आफूलाई पनि ढालिरहेको छु जस्तो लाग्छ